I guess it would be helpful if you can tell us about a time, when you worked with a team.
Definitely. I would say a time recently that I worked with the team is I actually did an independent research study for Tudor Pickering down in Houston, and basically they took 6 undergraduate students and 4 MBA students and basically put us on a team, and kind of our responsibility was there was a managing director down in Houston, and they were launching a new hedge fund, and so he wanted us to do research on the industry and give them an industry overview, and then also give them kind of like a marketing strategy on how are we going to market this hedge fund to potential investors. And so that was interesting to me just because I've done a lot of group projects in the business school and things like that, but in those situations your teachers kind of guide you and kind of like let you know what they want. But this is a managing director at Tudor Pickering. He doesn't have time to tell us anything. He basically just said, I have an industry analysis. I want a rough draft on my desk in 2 weeks. Go.
So how many people were on your team?
10.
Where did you fit in on that team? Like, what was your role? So we have a broad sense of what the team, the overall function. What was your day-to-day assignment on what were you doing on a day-to-day basis?
Well, that's kind of thing. So we had this industry analysis overview, and we had to break it up ourselves. And so each person would kind of take a different piece of the industry analysis, and then we would have to bring it all back together in the end. So basically, I researched.
Are you chewing gum?
That was my day-to-day.
Yes.
Used to go.
Go on.
Lose the gum, bring the resume.
Yeah, please, not that any of you would, don't show up to an interview with gum. Don't show up without your resume. Have a pen.
And so basically, we're just responsible for kind of looking at different sorts of possible investments in the industry. So I researched equity long short as a strategy and kind of looked at different equity long short funds and kind of their strategy, and then relayed that back to the group, and then we put that in the presentation. So that was kind of my role in that.
So was there a team leader?
There was not. There was basically a designated team leader every week. So every week, whoever was the team leader would change. So then everyone kind of got to be in a leadership role.
And how did you really interact with the teams? It sounds like you guys would kind of meet and then break apart and you all go do your own thing and then you come back. So is that really a team experience, or was it just a project for everybody had an individual piece of it?
I would definitely say that it was definitely very team driven, because while we were all responsible for our individual parts, people were still helping everyone else out all the time, because people would have things come up and they wouldn't be able to finish it, and then we'd bring it all in and try to put it together in a final presentable, and we'd be reading over everyone else's things, and we'd have to make comments, and we'd make changes ourselves. So while we would kind of pull back and do like a rough draft on our own, the final draft was definitely all driven from the team and kind of what they thought.
So if I had your 9 members of your team locked in a room, I wouldn't let them out until they gave me the 3 best adjectives to describe you, what would they say?
I would think that they would say kind of hardworking, ambitious, and kind of a helper, like help out in any way that I can.
And why would they describe you as ambitious? What would they mean by that?
Just because I'm kind of the type of person to where I'm not going to stop until the job's done, but not only that it's done, but that it's done right. And so however many hours that takes, or however long it takes me, or whatever I have to do, I'm determined to do it, to make the...
And that's great, but is there a specific example, maybe it wasn't on this team project, but another where that was the case, where you had to work endless hours to get something done?
Yeah, I have an example on this project. I actually was in Houston interviewing for investment banking internships, and we had to have the presentable due on Monday, and there was a part of it that hadn't gotten done yet, and so I'm trying to study up for my interviews in Houston, but this needed to get done as well, and everyone else was kind of bogged down and overloaded, and so I did it on my laptop in the hotel room, and got it back to the group by the time that they needed it.
Was this your part that didn't get done, or somebody else's part?
This was not my part. It was more of a part that got overlooked more than anything, that kind of had gone unassigned, and we didn't really notice it until it was...
And how did that happen so late in the process that you discovered that? If it was such a critical component.
It's just something that whenever we broke all the parts out, everyone kind of thought that everyone else was doing it, and until we brought everything together for the final presentation, no one really realized it.
So how would you say your communication skills are?
I would say my communication skills are good. I'm not afraid to talk to people or communicate with them in any way.
So, no, that makes sense. I mean, you seem like a social person, but what about your business communication skills?
I mean, I think those are adequate as well, and I think I'm definitely developing those.
What do you mean by adequate?
I think those are good as well, and I'm definitely developing them through my current internship and as I progress, getting better and better with communication, because that's something that you kind of have to learn from. You can't really just get it overnight.